Hi guys, for those of you that did not watch my last video, I suggest you do. It's about me coming back from California and I really enjoyed that trip, and I'm hoping to put up a lot more videos that are kind of like that, a bit more stuff about myself and make this channel a bit more cheerier because I kind of need that in my life right now. So today I'm going to be talking about kind of a painful subject for me personally, which is bullying. Bullying happens to a lot of people and it is a really hard thing to go through. One of the things you'll need to know is that it isn't a normal part of growing up. That's one of the things I heard so many times when I was being picked on, that it's okay, it's just a normal part of growing up, you'll get through it. Adults, teachers and parents all seem to say that it is a normal part of growing up and they use that as an excuse not to have to deal with it. No, it isn't a normal part of growing up and you don't have to deal with it. You don't need to feel the pain of being picked on to get through life. I personally know what it's like to be picked on. I suffered through about 2.5 years of bullying and it was horrendous. And it's just a horrible experience and I don't want any of you to have to go through that. My mum used to tell me that it was sticks and stones may break my bones, but names can never hurt me. And that is a lie. That is one of the biggest lies I think parents ever tell, and they tell it because they don't want to have to deal with their children's pain. They know that bullying is a horrible thing, and I think some parents use that phrase to kind of escape having to deal with it because it's too hard for them. And I know that may sound horrible to you if you're being picked on, but trust me, your parents, they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know what to do. They don't know whether you want them to tell somebody, whether you want them to keep shushed. Sometimes they know that if they get into the middle of it, if you tell them everything, then they feel like they have to do something. And if they do the wrong thing and it makes it worse for you, they're going to blame that all on themselves. So if your parents say that to you, don't hold a grudge against them. I know I did, and it ruined my relationship with my mum for about a year. I was being picked on, coming home crying every day, and she did nothing. She done absolutely nothing. And I realise now that's because she was scared too. She didn't want to ruin the relationship she had with me, and unfortunately she did anyways, but she didn't know what to do or how to help me, and that's okay because parents don't always know what to do, and we assume that because our parents, carers, brothers, sisters, whoever we may be calling upon to try and help us, they may be older than us, but that does not mean that they know everything. We always assume that adults are smarter than us and more mature than us and they know so much more than us just because they're older. That's not always the case. If you try to call upon your parents for help for being bullied and they've never been bullied, they may not know what to do. It's like asking somebody who hasn't had depression to fix your depression. They don't know how to, they don't know what to do. Some of them may not even know what depression is. It's kind of hard for the parents as well to know their child is suffering and not be able to do anything. So sometimes parents, carers, whatever, they may just blank it out and ignore the fact that it's happening. And it does sound really harsh and really horrible, but that is the way some people deal with things, just pretending they haven't happened. As for dealing with it yourself whilst you're being picked on, I personally, I know this is going to sound horrible, I cannot give you much advice there. When I was being picked on, I was a wimp. I didn't do anything. I did not want to stand up for myself. I was scared. I wasn't scared it would get worse. No, I was just scared of doing it. I didn't want to stand up to these people that were picking on me because they scared me. I was scared of what they were doing. They were making me feel so upset. I was scared about how they had so much control over me, even though we weren't friends. I didn't like them. I didn't understand how they had so much control over me and my life, but they did. And that was just so hard for me to kind of understand, and so actually sticking up for myself and saying to them, hey, you need to leave me alone, that was one of the most difficult things I'd ever done, and I did eventually manage to do it, and it did get so much better for me. And I think it's even harder to do if the bullying is physical. If you're being punched or beaten up all the time by the same people, it can be so much harder to actually stand up for yourself and throw a punch back. But I do actually recommend doing that. It could change your situation so much more, And I don't mean getting yourself worked up. If you react in the way of getting yourself worked up, then that can just provoke them more. They will get excited because they're getting this reaction from you. And I'm not saying to ignore it, because that doesn't help either, because ignoring it is suppressing it, and suppressing it just makes you feel like complete shit. And that is not what I want. That's not what you want. That's not what anybody wants. We don't want to feel bad about ourselves, because it's not a nice thing. And just ignoring what's going on and suppressing all of that can really make it worse. So don't ignore them. No matter how many times people tell you to, it doesn't help. But like I said, you don't want to react in getting all worked up and screaming and shouting, because that will make them laugh, that will make them think you're a joke, and that's not what you want. You want to say it calmly, you want to say it seriously, with a serious look on your face. And if you're being beaten up or physically bullied, then you can't just throw a little bit of a slap or just a bit of a nudge on the shoulder. I know this sounds bad, I'm not a violent person, but if somebody's picking on you, punch them straight in the face. That sounds horrible, but they know you mean it that way. You may get knocked down, you may get hurt, but at least then they'll know that you mean it. You don't just want to give them a little nudge. A punch in the face says, piss off and leave me alone. A nudge on the shoulder means, I'm a bit too scared to stand up to you, so you can just carry on picking on me. Bullying is so hard emotionally, and to be honest, the longer it goes on, the bigger an effect it has. Because the longer it goes on, the more things people can say and do to you and make you feel, and that can have longer and longer term effects. So seriously, guys, you need to stand up for yourself straight away. The first time somebody says something to you or does something to you, do not take it. Just say to them, no, I'm not having that, you need to leave me alone. If you've said to the person or people, don't say that, leave me alone, and it isn't working, then you need to take a more firmer tone. I don't mean shouting and screaming at the top of your lungs, because that doesn't help. It just makes them think you're a joke and all worked up. You need to be serious about it. You need to look them in the eye and tell them what you think about them and how disgusting they are. Bullies are disgusting people. If they're nice to their friends but mean to you, they are still disgusting. If they're nice to people at home and mean to people at school, they are disgusting. If they're nice to people in school but mean at home, that's still disgusting. You don't pick on people. It is the #1 rule in life, and I wish more people educated their children to know that. Most bullies are going through things of their own. And I know that is not an excuse, but some bullies may be getting picked on at home, they may be being abused, they may have a ill parent that they are currently caring for at home, and they're so angry that they can't, I don't know, go on Xbox like everybody else, because they have to sponge bath their mother every night because she can't do it herself. And that is not an excuse for them. I know it's not an excuse for their behaviour, but it's why they do it. And one of the worst things you can do when you're being picked on is blame yourself for that. If you constantly think, oh well, if I didn't say that to them, if I didn't walk this way that day, then I wouldn't have ever met them. No, stop right there. It's not your fault, it's theirs. And no matter what they've got going on, they don't get to treat people the way they're treating you. So don't just try and blame it on yourself, because it's not your fault, it is theirs. I hope this video has helped some of you. If any of you are going through bullying or need to talk, then we can all have a nice chat in the comments down below. Or you can just inbox me. Use any of my links down there, they're always down there. I'll see you all soon, and have a lovely day, week, whenever. Bye guys. You don't need to suffer through bullying to be a strong person. You can be a strong person with or without bullying.